Trying to see where. Okay.
Alrighty, we are now live. Haha! Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Welcome back and things and stuff. I'm Matt. This is Travis. This is Kelly. We do this once a week, once every other week or so. We get together, we round up a bunch of Marvel comic books, and we chat about them to kind of give a better picture of what's going on in the Marvel universe as a whole. So,
Or try to.
yeah. We're not doing a very good job at it, but we are having fun. So
that is true.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it at least. Are you having fun?
Mm-hmm. As someone who's just starting to get into comics, it's interesting to, like, now I'm finding myself like, oh, is it Wednesday yet? Like, oh, when's the next Gwenpool? So that's kind of nice. I like that feeling.
Wednesday, always the best day of the week. Alrighty. Well, so I'm really bad at doing this, but at the beginning and end of every video, I'm supposed to tell you to like, comment, and subscribe. You don't have to if you don't want to.
So saith the gods of the internet.
Yeah, we're just having fun. But if you're having fun, you can subscribe and you'll get notifications when we go live. This is a stream. It's not just a video. I know most people don't watch our stream. Most of our views come after. I think sometimes our dad watches the stream. But yeah, most of our views come afterwards. But yeah, so are y'all ready to just jump right in this time?
I am.
Sure.
Yep. I'm actually prepared.
Okay, cool. So I'm set up to go first this time. As always, I cover all of the X-Men comic books, and this is one of the titles that I'm relatively kind of the most excited about is Generation X. I just love all the characters in this one. I know I've said that whenever I read the first one. Quentin Quire's one of my favorite little offshoot guys. He's that guy sitting with the pink hair right there. So at the end, this is issue. Yeah, the little pink faux hawk. This is issue 2. At the end of issue number 1, the Purifiers, which are a constant X-Men villain, the Purifiers attacked the university. And this one is kind of, it's all what's going on during the little fight that they're having with the Purifiers. So, let's see. The Purifiers are attacking, and they immediately all jump into action. The Kitty, who's currently the leader at the school, she tells all the students, hey, hurry up, bring all of these humans that are around the park, because the school is actually, the Xavier Institute is actually in the middle of Central Park. That it dropped.
Is that why there are squirrels in the art?
That's probably because they're that character, the girl in the front there, Nature Girl, she kind of like summons and controls animals in a certain way.
Nature Girl.
So I'm curious how she would interact with Squirrel Girl, but that's beside the point.
Oh,
yeah, that's why I brought up the squirrels.
Yeah.
Second question: she's Nature Girl. She can interact and talk with animals and such. Did you see the movie X-Men Apocalypse?
Yeah.
Was that who Magneto's daughter was supposed to be in that movie?
I don't remember.
Okay.
The daughter in that movie, but she's not one of Magneto's daughters to the best of my knowledge. Magneto has like 2 or maybe 3 daughters. Polaris, who is a Magnet villain, and Wanda, who's Scarlet Witch. Except not according to Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just he had a daughter. She talks to animals. She summoned them whenever they tried to drag Magneto away. She made birds peck their eyes out, and then they shot her on accident.
I don't remember.
Accident.
No, it was an accident.
Oh.
Like they're all like flailing about, and one guy's got a bow and arrow, and he's like, "Oh shit!" And the arrow flies.
Gosh.
Oh,
Yeah.
I do know exactly what you're talking about.
You remember now? Yeah.
But I have no idea who that character was.
Okay, I
yeah,
thought maybe that was a call out to her or something. If she was actually a mutant,
maybe.
I didn't know.
Yeah, maybe. She that was all like he was off in a foreign country or something, wasn't he?
Yes,
Sweden,
not
Sweden,
Germany, but
Denmark,
a very
Danish,
German-speaking. He might have been in Austria or
Netherland, something
yeah.
like that. I don't know. Moving right along, so the purifiers are attacking their humans all about. So the X-Men Kitty tells them, "Hey, hurry up, get them inside." Tells Jubilee to. Jubilee's kind of leading this Generation X team. She tells them, "Hurry up, get them to safety," and then.
I'll be right back. Work is calling.
Oh, okay. So then.
Hello?
Kitty and Chamber and a couple of other X-Men jump in and start fighting the purifiers. And then Quentin, who is a ridiculously powerful telepath, he takes control of the purifiers and asks them, "Why are you hitting yourself?" And he literally has them beating the crap out of themselves. But that's not very nice. It would be okay if he had just...
not necessarily, no.
Yeah, it would be okay because they're literally like beating themselves to death kind of thing. So he could have just been like, "Hey, everybody go to sleep," and telepathically made them fall asleep or something. But no, he was being kind of brutal with it. And then when somebody called him out on it, he said, "Oh, okay, well, I'll stop making them hit themselves and just make them shoot themselves." And they like hold guns up to their heads or something, and somebody stops him before he does it. He's kind of a jerk like that. He's way too smart for his own good. He's bored with everything. He's convinced that life is meaningless, and that's going to be kind of a conflict you face with him.
Okay.
In all of this mess, there was a brand new student in the first issue, and he was about to leave when the purifiers attacked. But at the end of the issue, this new student, his code name is Hindsight. He decides that he is going to stay. He is going to give this a shot because, he needs to learn how to kind of control his powers and that kind of thing. So, yeah, he's gonna give this a shot. But if this is the everyday thing, there might be trouble along the way. That's kind of where he is.
Oh, okay.
So. That was it. That was it for that one, and I think that'll be the longest explanation that I have.
I had pins here. One.
The next book that I had was Cable. So I've never read anything with Cable before. I know generally who he is. I know generally what he does, and that kind of thing.
Give me the briefest of explanations, because I know nothing of Cable.
Time traveling soap opera character.
Ooh, I love him already.
I joke when I say soap opera character because so he time travels, and that's kind of like his mutant ability. He also really loves big guns. He's Nathan Summers. He is Scott Summers and Jean Grey's son.
Oh, okay.
But because he time travels, he got plopped into some crazy future, and he was trained for like crazy Armageddon-y mutant Haiti-ness, and he's a super hardened war criminal-y type person. I don't know.
Okay, all right.
The unfortunate part is that this book, even though it's Cable #1, didn't do a whole lot to tell you anything about the character.
Okay.
So I'll tell you everything that happened in this book, and I don't think I'm leaving out any details. So Cable beats up some outlaw cowboys. They had pulled out some futurist... He's actually in the 1800s when he does this. They pull out some futuristic pistols, and they're threatening him, and he makes a quip about "I've seen bigger," because he's known to use ridiculously huge guns.
Okay.
He convinces one of them to show Cable where he went, whoever he is. I don't know. It didn't tell me in the entire book.
Right.
Whenever they get out to this abandoned area, he tells the guy to go back to the prison, or else he'll come back and get him. Then he time travels into maybe the past, to like Edo period Japan, where he finds these Ronins and he beats them up, but all of their buddies shoot him with arrows and knock him out, and that's the end of the issue.
Oh my goodness.
And
okay.
I'm pretty sure I didn't leave out any details.
So there's just like a whole bunch of stuff going on.
It's just he time hops and he beats up bad guys.
Okay. All right.
And that's about it.
And that's what we got for now.
Yeah. Hopefully issue 2 will capture my attention more, but
yeah.
Well,
and I know, like, with first issues, it's always so hard to, because, you know, sometimes they'll throw either so much at you, or none at all.
You don't want to retell the origin story, Batman.
Right.
But you need to introduce this character, but you can't tell the audience literally everything about the character.
Right, exactly. So I know, like, it's always tough whenever you have that first issue, because it's really difficult to find a lot to work with, especially when we're trying to tell everybody about what's going on. And I know it's tough, but I mean, like, I'm sure, like, the next one, they've gotta, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm definitely gonna pick up the next one. I'm gonna try and stick with all of the X-Men titles. I'm probably not gonna do the Inhumans much anymore, but that's beside the point.
Okay.
Now,
do you know if, like, Cable has, like, a specific, like, baddie or, like, a particular person that he normally has an issue with, or? I just didn't know. I don't know.
Yeah, there are a few people that he's kind of connected with. Obviously, the Phoenix Force is like a constant, all-surmounting X-Men villain. There's some, and I don't know names because I didn't read. There's like the late 90s stuff that I didn't read. But there's this character who is see, I don't even know a name for this character.
Well, that's okay, because I mean, like, I really don't know too many names of characters or anything like that. So I know, like, that's kind of a loaded question. Because if somebody goes, "Oh, who does Gwenpool normally fight?" I'd be like,
yeah. I don't even really know the name of the character, but there's this silver armored enemy that sometimes he fights, and I think it was spoiled to me somehow, some way, that it was actually another version of Nathan.
Oh.
Timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly.
That could be a different way to go with it.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be cool.
So I don't know.
I know I'm sure they won't do the exact same thing, but that could be some nifty stuff.
Yeah. And yeah, that's all I have to say about Cable.
I mean, even on the cover, there's 2 of them on there, so maybe, who knows?
I think that the whole X-Men putting their characters in the... Here, look, I'll go back to Generation X. You see past the X.
Oh, I see, okay. Oh, that's really cute. I love that idea.
That is...
Oh, that's so smart.
I feel like that's a call-out to some of the old, like, in the 80s and 90s, they would always put the... like the faces of the characters in the top corner in this little box.
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
I feel like it's some sort of little call out to that, but I don't know. So then in the Cable one, they have Cable up there. I'll show you 1 or 2 more in a minute, but so moving right along to one without the big X in the corner, we have
Old Man Logan.
And this is the final issue of this sub-story, Past Lives, where he had been tumbled back into the memories of his past lives.
Oh, God.
And he, at the end of the last one, he actually arrived at the point in time where Old Man Logan, not Wolverine, not Logan, Old Man Logan began. It was this big arc about this alternate future where the villains ruled and they killed his children and his wife.
Oh.
So he's back on the farm and his kids and his wife are alive. So he decides that he wants to stay and he breaks this amulet that's been bouncing him back and forth through time. He breaks it so that he doesn't travel back and forth through time anymore. He wants to stay. This is when he was happy. So after after basically what the first chapter of the original Old Man Logan happens in this book, he realizes he can't change anything. So he would have to live through his kids and his wife dying again if he stayed. So now he's kind of regretting the idea of staying. And his daughter actually fixed the amulet that he broke. So he then he grabs it, he thanks her, he hugs her and everything, and then he comes back into like present day type thing. All the while, there was this bad guy. I don't even remember his name, but he had gotten Hydra people and AIM people and all sorts of bad guys all together, and he was like gonna sell Logan to them because he had Logan in this crazy coma thing, and they're all trying to get out because they think something weird is going on, and then he wakes up and starts attacking them. And Bobby, Iceman, actually comes and helps and saves the day, because in the last issue, he tried to tell Bobby that at this future date, I'm stuck in this warehouse and I need you to come save me. But he wasn't sure if he was actually able to tell him. So Bobby pops up and he says, yeah, like 10 years ago, you told me to come save you at this point in time, and here I am. So, kind of gimmicky, but it was silly. At the very end, he kind of walks in this internal monologue where he's saying, like, he's finally accepted losing his wife and his children and everything, and he's ready to move on. But he's glad that he was able to see him again. He was glad to have that happy moment one more time.
Yeah.
That was kind of it was cool. It was a nice little sub story.
Well, it sounds like an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah. If somebody was interested in picking up Wolverine or Old Man Logan or whatever, this would be a really good. Not this particular issue, but Past Lives would be a really good place to start. It's issue number 21 was the first one. And 21, 22, and 23 all show that progression, and then 24, it just brings you back into where they are with him right now. Okay. Yeah. And then issue 25 is going to start a whole new story. They're done with the Past Lives thing.
I gotcha.
Yeah. So it's a good one to get going. I found issue 21, but I don't own it. I bought 22, 23, and 24. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So is this one that you're gonna stick with then?
Yeah, I'll definitely keep getting this one too. Travis, to recap real quick, because I know you were gone. I didn't like Cable. It was short and weird. And Old Man Logan concluded that story. You remember he was bouncing around through time, and I said that he finally got back to his old farm family in the alternate future. He realized he couldn't change anything, and he came back to the present time, and he's happy now.
Well, as happy as you can be without being with your family.
Yeah. But yeah, that's stuff. So moving right along, here with Iceman's first standalone comic.
Ever?
I think so.
Ooh, that'd be nifty.
I'm not sure, but this is an issue 1. It came out this week. This one and the next one I do are this week. The other 3 were last week. So once again, we mentioned this before. Travis, do you see on the cover where the X is? You see Iceman in the corner?
Yes.
So I mentioned, and you might remember this too. I mentioned to Kelly, doesn't that seem like maybe it's a call out to the old thing they used to do, putting the faces of the team in the little corner there? I think that's a neat way of having that little homage back to everything.
This is his first standalone
ever.
Oh, cool! You looked it up.
Yep.
So, quick question.
Yeah.
I recognize. Well, 2 quick questions. Excuse me. I recognize all of those people, but I cannot remember.
Is that the Juggernaut?
That is the Juggernaut up there.
I know a person.
Remember the name of the creepy, pale-looking vampire-ish dude?
Red Diamond in the head.
Okay.
Is that what it is? It's Mr. Sinister.
Oh,
Mr. Sinister.
okay, yeah. I couldn't remember his name, but I remembered him from the '90s TV show.
Yeah.
Also, when did they go back to putting a skull on Mystique's forehead? Because I always thought that was silly.
I don't know.
She's had that for a while.
Okay.
At least
What else has been there?
At least since 2015. That because I kind of have this gap before 2015 that I don't remember, but I do remember in 2015 she came back in this series called Extraordinary X-Men, and she had the skull.
Okay.
So
because she had it in the '90s TV show, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I remember seeing her in other things, and she didn't have a skull on her forehead, and I was like, that just looks better.
I don't know. That's a good question. I'll see what I can find out for you.
I was curious.
So
Iceman.
Iceman, this is his first ever standalone, and there's been a lot of changes with Iceman recently. So many years ago, 2-3 years ago, Iceman from the past, the time displaced one. Do y'all remember me talking about the blue team?
Blue team, yeah.
The time displaced one. So the young Iceman came out as gay, and at first they were kind of saying like, oh, it's probably just a weird dimension thing. Like it doesn't necessarily mean that this universe's Bobby is also gay. But then, after a few months of claiming that, they came up to him and said, so why have you always hidden that you're gay? And he's like, what? How would you know that? I'm not really. And then he finally admits that he is. And it was actually kind of a good point. So, gay people have been persecuted for a very long time, and so have mutants. Bobby mentioned that...
It's a tough combo.
Yeah, Bobby mentioned that he was already a mutant. He didn't want to be that gay mutant and be double persecuted. So,
it's true.
The reason I mention all that is because the very first thing that he is doing in the comic is he's posting this entry on a dating website.
Oh no.
So it's something like single not stirred or something like that. It's goofy. But so they kind of use that as an overarching theme, and he's constantly like trying to type in who you are in 500 characters or less, and he types in something and he backs it out, and he types in something and backs it out. In the very last panel of the book, this doesn't give away too much. The very last panel of the book, he just posts. It says, "Explain who you are in 500 characters or less," and he just has like the little parentheses, like emoticon guy going, "Oh, I don't know." So it was pretty funny. So the story, though, he's posting that thing online. He's telling you kind of a little bit about himself that way. And then he's in the, it kind of flashes back or forward into this training exercise where he and the time-displaced Bobby are training together. And you just kind of get to see them banter back and forth. Bobby has always been the comedian of the X-Men. He's very much like Spider-Man in that way, how Spider-Man mouths off during the entire fight. So does Bobby. After the training exercise is done, he gets a phone call from his mom, and his dad's in the hospital because his dad had almost had a heart attack. So you go and get to meet his parents, and his parents, one, they don't know he's gay, and they don't necessarily approve of like him being a hero and getting into saving and fighting and stuff. They know, but you can tell that it's a weird relationship they have. It's one of those things you probably get that he's probably built this smart aleck sense of humor as a defense mechanism because his relationship with his parents. He mouths off with them the same that he does with villains and stuff. So while he's in the hospital, they hear this clatter. He goes outside, and there's a purifier. Once again, purifiers are just an X-Men villain that they use all the time. There's this purifier chasing down this random mutant through the hallway, and he jumps in and beats up the guy. When he does defeat this purifier, he is talking to the mutant. I don't know if she's going to become important or not, but she says that she has kind of a dumb power, and he asks what it is, and she shows him. She spits out like her saliva, and it's a really hard little like icicle type thing, and he's like, okay, that is kind of weird, but whenever I first got my powers, literally all I could do is throw slushy at people. So, and now he can do all sorts of crazy stuff. In fact, one of the cool things he does in this one, when the Purifier's chasing him, he makes an ice clone of himself, and he goes hide in a corner so that the Purifier chases after the clone instead of him.
That's cool.
Yeah, so like he does a lot. There's also some other really cool, crazy things that he can do that, yeah.
So he's gone away from just like basically eating heat to make ice to the point where like now he controls ice.
Yes.
Okay.
So there's this arc back in like 2014, something like that, where all the X-Men books crossed over, and a future of everyone, including Iceman, came back to the present to stop them from having the past X time travel shenanigans. And the future Iceman kind of hinted that Bobby's like more powerful than he thinks. He created like automatons that like could think and act on their own, but they're made of ice.
Mm-hmm.
So Bobby's got some pretty powerful powers in store. We just haven't ever seen them yet. So,
he can eat suns if he wants to. He just
maybe. All right, I got one last book, and it's save the main story for the last. X-Men Gold is one of the X-Men titles. Once again, we have the team up there in the corner by the X. So where we left off in issue 4, Gambit had given
up there.
Well, I'm sorry.
I was just saying they look a little cramped up there in that corner.
Yeah,
in this one.
there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah. So that's okay. In issue 4, they left off. Gambit had given the little nanobots to the Trask lady, and then the nanobots got into some Sentinel technology and made this crazy new looking Sentinel. And this one is kind of them starting to deal with the Sentinel. So all the X-Men jump in and they try and save the day. It's a Sentinel, and one of Kitty Pryde's powers is that when she phases through things, she can literally phase through any matter. When she phases through technology, it tends to disrupt the technology, makes its circuits go all haywire. So she does that to this Sentinel, and he kind of freaks out and he disappears. So they're looking around for him and everything, and they're starting to talk about stuff. The team psychic, Rachel Gray, she says that she feels like she heard it being alive. So she thinks she might be able to beat it with a psychic attack. Which is interesting because it's a machine, right? It's not supposed to be alive. So Nightcrawler says that he sees it, and they ask, "Oh, how'd you find it?" "Oh, I looked out the window, and it was right there." So they go back down and they fight it again, and Kitty can't phase through it and beat it up this time because it's adapting. They're nanobots. They're constantly changing how they work. So they're fighting it, and Rachel does use the psychic attack, and it seems like it works. But then they start checking some stuff on the computer, and they realize that the nanobots are literally all over the city, and they start getting reports of people being killed and attacked and stuff. And it's strange people that are being attacked. Somebody who's colorblind. There's baldness. There, like a guy with who's bald or something. And like they slowly start to realize that the nanobots are attacking people with genetic mutations. It's a Sentinel, so it's supposed to kill mutants.
And let's just redefined mutant as not
Oh no.
a super mutant, but someone with genetic anomalies.
Precisely.
Right.
So baldness
Colorblind.
is a genetic mutation. Color blindness is a genetic mutation. Cancer, I think, was one of the
Oh
things
no.
they called out. Something like that. So
Yikes.
that's where it ends. Is they're worried because now it's attacking people, not mutants
Right.
that have superpowers that can defend themselves.
Mhm.
So yeah, it was an interesting take. I didn't necessarily see it coming, and it was still entertaining. Cool.
That is different. I like that.
Okay. So Kelly, you ready to talk about Deadpool?
I sure am.
Cool.
So
This one was
all
a
I
Secret
know-
War tie-in or Secret Empire tie-in, right?
yes, that was one of the things between Deadpool and then also my Doctor Strange.
Mhm.
Both of those last week, because these came out last week, not this week. They were both tie-ins with that. So basically, with Deadpool Secret Empire, before like you even get to like the actual panels and when you're on the first page, it literally said all this stuff went down before Secret Empire number 0. So
Okay.
I don't know if saying 0 is a joke, but like this is a total prequel for everything.
There
apparently.
actually was a Secret Empire number 0.
Oh,
So it
that's
was kind of
cool, actually.
it was the prequel to Secret Empire. It came out the week before we did our first episode of this.
So this is a prequel for a prequel?
Yes.
Kinda, yeah, sure.
Only Deadpool would do a prequel for a prequel. But basically, as I recall, as much as it was, the book, or the comic, it opens up with Deadpool kind of reminiscing over how when he was growing up, how much he looked up to Cap, how much Captain America was like a great, like sort of a role model for him, and how much, he like really responded to that, and he really thought that he was like a great like character to look towards, I guess, when he was younger.
In Canada?
What?
I said in Canada. Captain America, great role model for young Canadian Wade.
I guess I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah, I'm
but
just
he
being
said he
critical.
grew up and he really respected him when he was growing up.
I
And
mean,
I'm like, all
I
right.
guess that's sort of like an American having Winston Churchill as a role model. I mean,
I guess.
it's still maps. It's just weird.
Goofy, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too. Like, I'm not sure in this universe, like if there were how many, when Captain America was a thing, like how many other people were actually superheroes at the time? Were there a boatload of them walking around, or is he like
They usually
up there like one of the first?
They usually kind of play it off like Captain America was the first because the whole World War II type thing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that nowadays the reason there are so many super villains is because there are so many superheroes.
Okay.
And like it's a response to it, that kind of thing. But I don't know.
So it starts with him being like talking about growing up, how much he looked up towards Captain America. And then he also, like, in this little reminiscing moment, he also is like, it shows how grateful he is when Captain America asked him to eventually become a part of the Avengers. Like he really loves Cap. Like, so you can tell that this is definitely the narrative. Like, I love Captain America and I'm really glad that the Avengers like was something I joined and it's been a great chapter of my like life. But it's obvious that it's going to show us something other than positive about what might have happened with him and Cap or him and the Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, then it immediately does a jump over to Deadpool getting like a voice call or video call, whatever, from Captain America. And basically, he's asking him to take out or eliminate Phil Coulson, Coulson. I'm not really sure who Phil Coulson is.
Do you remember from the Avengers movie the S.H.I.E.L.D. agent?
Yes.
That guy.
Okay.
He's one of the main characters from the TV show Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Okay. So, because this is basically like it jump cuts from him reminiscing like that to Captain America giving him a voice call, being like, "Hey, man, Do you remember how I said that when you joined the Avengers, it would be one of the greatest yet also most trying chapters of your life? This is one of those times. And Captain America basically says, all communications between you and me needs to be completely encrypted. Nobody needs to know that we're talking, and I don't want anybody to really know that I've requested for you to take Coulson out. And Deadpool being, and I'm assuming like being as trusting as he was with Captain America, and because he looked up to him so much and he's like so excited to be a part of this, he's like, cool, man, no one's ever on the wrong side of Captain America. Like, you've got your reasons. I got this. So basically, Deadpool, in an attempt to find Coulson, he ends up crashing the Preston's family dinner barbecue. I'm not sure why, but I guess Mrs. Preston, the mother of all of this, she apparently knows the location of a secret SHIELD hideout, which is apparently where they think Coulson would be hiding.
Okay.
So in stereotypical Deadpool fashion, he crashes this barbecue on a helicopter, you know, like their entire backyard lights on fire because he ruins their dinner. Basically, Mrs. Preston, she decides that the only way that she would tell him the location of this secret, you know, like safe house is if he promises to not harass their family for the rest of the summer. She's like, please, Deadpool, leave us alone. Let us have a summer, and I will tell you where the safe house is. And while he's like shoving hot dogs, you know, in his mouth and like eating potato salad with his hands, he's like, sure, yeah, I could do that. So basically, and it's like a lot of action happens, but there's not a crazy amount of story. So the next thing, once she tells him the location of this safe house, it jump cuts to him raiding the safe house.
Mm-hmm.
It's an abandoned old SHIELD safe house, so it's one that I guess that hasn't really been in use a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess Coulson, right as he's trying to lock himself in like the deepest, like most sacred, safest places of this building, Deadpool manages to get his foot in before it closes. And Coulson's like begging with him. He's like, no, this, like, you've got to know more. Like, why would, like, Captain couldn't be doing this for a good reason. Like, why would Captain ever ask for this to happen? And then Deadpool says something to the effect of, has Captain ever been wrong? Or has anybody ever been on the opposite opinion of Cap's? Like, has anyone ever had the opposite opinion or been on the other side of Captain? And they be the good guy. And after making a statement like that, it pretty much insinuates that Deadpool just shoots him dead. Like Coulson is gone. And basically, I think that was pretty much it. Yep.
So he
and
did
after he
kill
ends up
Coulson?
yes, Deadpool took Coulson out. Like, he is dead.
Okay.
And basically, once Deadpool has killed Coulson, suddenly, like, Coulson's pleading, and then Deadpool realizing, like, oh, why do all of our communications have to be super secret? Like, what's with that? And you can tell Deadpool's, like, realizing that something may not be 100% on the up and up. And then Captain America reminds him once more, remember what I told you, like, the Avengers, it's going to be the biggest, like, this is going to be some of your highest points and your lowest points.
Yeah.
And then he eventually rounds it up to say, like, don't worry, though, the world is going to be on our side. And that's kind of like how it ends. He pretty much says, it'll all make sense eventually. Don't worry about it. This is a good thing.
Okay.
And that was kind of how that one wrapped itself up.
Cool.
So I definitely now need to start reading. I need to start getting into Secret Empire because now I want to know what the hell's going on with Secret Empire.
Yeah, I think we own them all. I have them on the app, so if you want to read them, yeah.
Because I thought that was like a little bit interesting. So I know, like, for a regular Deadpool comic, that's kind of gonna pull things away from the regular story. But I thought that was a really cool, like, prequel for Secret Empire, which is really nifty.
Mm-hmm. That is neat.
And then,
because I didn't know that. I knew they didn't know where Coulson was.
I
didn't know he was dead.
He's dead now. Or at least they pretty much, I don't think they actually showed him like laying
He's
there
in Tahiti.
with like blood coming out of his head.
Tahiti. It's
But-
a magical place.
Yeah,
it's a magical
so
place.
they might have. I might
She
have
has
to
no
go back
idea.
and check it. What?
It's a magical
Oh
place.
no, he's not dead. He's in Tahiti. It's a magical place.
Oh, okay.
It's from a TV show. You
cool.
should watch the
And
TV
then-
show. It's good.
And then the other crossover that I had was my Doctor Strange Secret Empire crossover.
And this is number 21, but number
correct.
20 comes out like next week or this week or something.
What I was told at the comic book store is number 20 already came out. It was the Monsters Unleashed thing.
Oh, okay, that's what it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Because basically, this issue with the crossover, it pretty much starts with the Doctor fighting his way out of a giant monster, which we eventually learn is one of these giant evil monsters that apparently has been summoned by, I'm not sure what's happened, but there's
He's
a
nodding.
giant evil bubble over Manhattan right now.
Yeah. I remember in Secret Empire number 1, there was some monster, and Captain America walks right up to him and says, like, hey, look, just go ahead and give up, and we don't have to beat you up. And the monster laughed at him, and he's like, okay, Avengers, assemble, do your thing, go kick that thing's butt. And they did.
Okay. So I'm not sure if this is the same monster or not, but like it opens up with him, I'm assuming in like his stomach, and he's like crawling his way up its throat, and then he fights his way out of its mouth, and then he like shoots out of its mouth. And I guess the entire like book or this comic, that's Doctor Strange's goal, is he wants to kill this giant thing because it's destroying everything.
Yeah, Darby Monsters.
In the meantime, Daredevil is around apparently. Daredevil, some guy named Ben, which I don't know who he is,
Ben.
and then
Come on,
another
man.
woman
Ben.
named Jess, who I eventually found out was Spider-Woman,
Yeah.
are climbing a giant skyscraper towards Doctor Strange's apartment. And the reason why is apparently there's this giant weird crystal that has some weird barrier around it. And for some reason, they're like, hey, let's get in on this action. What the hell's going on in Doctor Strange's apartment? And basically, Daredevil is the first one who makes it up there. Spider-Woman and this other guy that I'm just going to call him that because he literally doesn't do any powers the whole comic. So he might just be a buddy.
Did he seem like maybe a reporter?
Maybe, yeah. He could have been a reporter.
It might have been Ben Urich, who's the reporter that always tries to out Daredevil as Matt Murdock.
Oh, that's kind of funny then.
Maybe.
I like that. Because that's kind of funny that if he was trying to follow him around and do that, that makes sense.
Yeah. I don't know.
But basically, Daredevil's the first one who makes it up to that crystal. And he makes a reference to using this sword that that has been kept in a lockbox for a very long amount of time. And he says something to the effect of, well, I've had this sword for a long time, and now I'm actually carrying it around. And now I've just encountered this giant magic floating crystal. Let's put 2 and 2 together, and let's see what happens when I try to attack this with this weird magical sword, I guess. I'm not sure. And basically what ends up happening is it ends up, instead of like being able to crack it or get anything from it, Daredevil ends up getting sucked into this crystal. And basically this guy named Baron Mordo, who is put in charge of all of Dark Force Manhattan, is like, you idiot, how could you have fallen for this trap? Now I got you.
So you saw the Doctor Strange movie, right?
Yes.
Do you remember the black character?
Mordo.
Yeah.
The
That's
bad guy.
Mordo.
Well, he's the bad guy now.
Oh, okay.
Right.
He is not black in the comics.
He's not.
That might have been why I had an issue, because that's the thing, I'm so bad with names. And especially when I'm still pretty new to the whole Doctor Strange thing.
Yeah, that's all right. There are hundreds and hundreds of characters. You can't know them all. That's why I literally am guessing about the Ben character. But you said Daredevil, so I thought maybe.
Maybe, yeah, and it could have been.
What else would be funny is if that was Ben Urich in the TV show. What is Ben Urich?
I don't know.
Matthew?
Oh, he's a black guy. He died.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So he wasn't black and mad.
In the
Yeah,
Netflix
no, he was
Daredevil
not.
TV show, he was killed, and he was also an older black gentleman.
Huh.
In the
Interesting.
early 2000s, Ben Affleck Daredevil, he was played by some punkish type guy, but he was a white guy. So
Okay.
yeah, I mean, it's one of those things
Okay.
that when you have characters like that, there are several characters that race identity doesn't matter. Now, if somebody tried to take Luke Cage is a black guy, but his story is about the plight of African Americans in this country.
Yeah.
So you can't change his character.
That wouldn't be good to do.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know, I'll tangent.
Or they mean like making someone with a specific background, like you were talking about Gambit earlier. Gambit is Cajun. Like,
if they tried to
just randomly made him Asian, it'd be like, what?
Yeah, that would be weird.
Yeah.
So
That'd be weird. So
No.
So yeah, that's neat that they can do that. They can change these characters that their racial identity doesn't matter with the character. There's no reason they can't do that. Yeah. So.
But yeah, so after Daredevil is trapped in that little trap, that's kind of the end of that little storyline with Daredevil. So I guess I'm not sure what's going to happen to him. I might need to start reading some Daredevil comics now.
You can if you want.
Anyways, then it jump cuts back to Doctor Strange, who's still trying to control this giant monstrosity monster. And it prefaced at the beginning of this comic, when he was working his way out of the monster, that he's not quite as strong as he once was.
Mm-hmm.
He no longer has his cape of levitation. I'm not sure if that actually has a name, but he no longer has that with him.
I think it's called
he
the
doesn't
Cloak of
have
Levitation.
Yes. He doesn't have his Eye of Magnus. Is that what it's called, right?
Eye of Agamotto.
Eye of Agamotto. That's
Eye
right.
of
Yes.
Agamotto.
I don't know why I thought Magnus, but he no longer has his Eye of Agamotto. So that was lost at some point or another.
Okay.
And basically, he's explained. He starts making in literally like a trash barrel in an alley. This thing, and he's literally calling it a witch's brew. And it's stuff that he's collected. And he's explaining that even though he doesn't have his magical items, there's still magic in items that have an emotional presence to them. Mm-hmm. So he's got like a rabbit's foot that's been owned by a guy who survived 3 car crashes, and he throws that in there. And then he finds like a child's favorite like toy, and I'm sure it was like a Transformer or some other reference to something, and he throws that in there, you know. So he makes this witch's brew in an attempt to, and he starts doing his Yumo Guegui Vai Di Sao. He starts doing that to start throwing this brew over at the giant monster. And basically what it starts doing is burning it alive. Like the whole thing catches on fire, it stops attacking everything, and it's like writhing around. It's also knocking things over in the process.
Like on the cover?
Yes. Okay. A lot like that, yes. And basically, in the middle of him making this witch's brew, Spider-Woman, and I'm assuming this Ben Reporter guy, once Daredevil got stuck into that, it pushed them off of the side of this building. Mm-hmm. And Ben, I don't know if he's on her back or he grabs onto her, but basically she's able to glide. And she glides her way down, and they crash land into Strange's witch's brew. They knock the whole thing over, and Strange is like, "Oh my gosh, you idiots! Why did you ruin that?" And then they're like, "What were you doing? Like making the world's worst stew?" And he was like, "No, I was like taking care of this giant problem that was going on." And once they kind of stopped in the middle of his work, he pretty much says, "It looks like we were only able to burn the outer layers off." So it's this giant pink slippery thing that's like wiggling around, and it starts knocking things over again. It's really gross looking. It's awful. If you like gross things, it's cool to look at. You should buy it. So basically, what ends up happening is, as they are now trying to figure out what the heck they're going to do, and they're trying to think of how else they're going to find this nice, luxurious limo like screeches out of nowhere. And they're like, who is that, briefly, before like it like zips off. And they're like, okay. And then it shows this limo, like it goes scree all the way up like a parking lot, like staircase, like scree in a big corkscrew manner. And then it screeches over the side of a parking lot right through this giant monster's head. Because I'm assuming since they burned so much out of it, it was like the car was able to go through its head.
It burned his armor off.
Yeah. So the whole giant monster collapses. Doctor Strange, Spider-Woman, and then Ben, they're all like, oh my gosh, who is that? And they run up to this monster and they're like, are you okay? Like, who's in there? And then basically, a Mr. Wilson Fisk gets out, he steps out mentioning how he always is here to collect his debts. So that's how that one wrapped itself out. I'm not sure if he was in previous episodes or comics of this series.
You know who he is?
No.
Wilson Fisk is the kingpin of crime. So he's a bad guy.
Oh, great. So another person to fight. Yay.
Well, probably not. He's probably hanging out with them for now because he doesn't.
That's true.
I doubt he wants to be trapped under a dome of darkness.
That's true. So I thought that was a little interesting that that happened so quickly, and I thought that was kind of cute. I never expected to see Spider-Woman trying to help kill this giant pink slippery thing. I thought that was really weird.
All right. Well, good deal. Moving right along. Next up, we have Deadpool versus The Punisher.
This is another one. This is another one. Like, at first when I started this, it was kind of hard to wrap my head around the whole thing, but I'm getting really into it. I'm starting to really like Deadpool versus the Punisher. So this one, because it's going with the theme of Deadpool waking up from dreams, or he's always waking up from something before he realizes like where they are or what they're doing. So this time he wakes up on a giant freighter ship, like where they transport massive amounts of things. So there's all those giant, what do they call those, cargo boxes or whatever, littered everywhere. And basically this freighter ship is headed to the bank, which is this offshore building that Mr. Banks, or the bank, you know, whatever character however you want to call him, is basically holding himself up because he's got to keep track of all this cash that is apparently now under severe peril now that the Punisher is after him.
Yeah.
And basically, when Deadpool wakes up, he's wandering around this giant freighter ship. He's like, where are these people? Like, who's running this thing? Like, what's going on? And basically, the first person he finds is Hudson, the little boy that in his mind, he has memorized every person that the bank either owes money to or owes money to the bank.
All his financial information.
Yes, all of the bank's financial information is memorized by this child. And basically, Hudson, the little boy, he tells Deadpool that the Punisher and the Taskmaster are apparently fighting on this freight ship. And I'll be honest, I'm not sure who told the Taskmaster to show up. I believe it was
the bank guy.
The bank to try to stop him, I guess, because he's trying to stop him from getting there. I guess
the bank wanted him to bring.
That's right, because he wanted him to kidnap Hudson and get Hudson. There we go. That's what it was. So basically, that's a great fight scene where you see the Punisher and the Taskmaster. They're going at it. The Taskmaster, because he's able to, like kind of decipher like how you fight and then pick apart how you fight.
He can kind of mimic everything they do and that kind of stuff.
Yes. So because of that, the Punisher is caught a little bit off guard. And right as the Punisher starts to get into some slippery business, that's when Deadpool pretty much kicks in. Deadpool, he jumps in. He pretty much saves the Punisher, what I'm going to assume, from being thrown off of this ship. Because basically they made it look like the Punisher was kind of in a tight spot. And basically, once they defeat the Taskmaster, they end up throwing him over the edge. He's hanging by like a little cord or whatever. And then Hudson, the little kid, is the one who ends up like cutting the cable. And Taskmaster is like, I'd have done the same thing. Good job, kid. Like, way to go. So like he knows he lost, but he can appreciate that the kid at least understands, how to get rid of somebody who's not good for his health. And then in the meanwhile, while waiting for the Taskmaster to show up, it cuts over to the bank waiting for this freighter to arrive. And they see it off in the horizon. And he has all these hired guns, like these hired, just like, I don't know, like just muscle with guns. Mm-hmm. And they're all standing around him. And he's like, you guys, like, that's why you're here. Like, they ask him a question, like, do you want a sidearm? And he's like, hell no, I got better things to do. That's not my job. That's your job. And right near the end of his conversation with one of these hired guns, he pretty much goes, well, you know who hired us, right? And then they all start pointing their weapons at him. And I'm not quite sure who like taught them or did anything with them in the past. So I guess next issue, we're going to learn a little bit more about them.
Okay.
And then, kick him off the ship. Oh, when the Punisher and Deadpool beat the Taskmaster, Deadpool makes the joke, oh, they're totally going to ship us now. And the Punisher is like, what's that? So then Deadpool starts listing off all these like couple names for them for shipping them together, which is pretty cute. And then, yes, that was one of them. I don't remember a whole lot. And then basically Deadpool, he brings up again how he feels like he's always waking up from the same dream. And while he's explaining it again, the Punisher finishes his sentence. He's like, yeah, like, I know how that dream ends. And then Deadpool immediately shoots, and I don't even know what's going to happen, but basically Deadpool immediately shoots the Punisher in the head. And he goes, have you been shooting me in the head to forget where we've been going or what's going on between everything? And then it just kind of shows him like laying on the ground. And that's pretty much it. And then it gives, because at the end of every single one of these Deadpool versus Punisher comics, it does like a me won the world 0, like I won a point and you didn't. Like basically when Deadpool shoots him in the back of the head, mm-hmm. It pretty much goes Deadpool 1, Punisher 0.
Except it says they're 2-2 at the end of this one.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I don't remember that much.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
It's all good.
See, he remembers it more than I do.
That's cool.
But that was pretty much the end of that. So I guess now Deadpool is getting kind of angry at the Punisher. Even though Deadpool really wants to keep Hudson alive, that's like why Deadpool is really in all this.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe Deadpool and Punisher will actually have a discussion about why he can't remember what's happening between everything.
All right, sounds good. Moving along again. I think you've got one more.
Yep, last one is Gwenpool. The unbelievable Gwenpool.
The unbelievable.
I don't believe it.
You don't believe it?
No, it's not butter.
I do.
It's not butter, it's Gwenpool.
You're right.
Anyways, the previous comic I had mentioned, when she mentioned that in the universe she was in, people from her regular home universe seemed to sprout up around. So she decided to visit her home to see if any of her family was there. Mm-hmm. And when she knocked on the door, her brother answered it.
Yeah.
He immediately grabbed her and pulled her through this time-travel-y dimensional force thing. Okay. So when this one starts, she's transported back to her regular universe. She's not Gwenpool. She doesn't have any superpowers. She's just a regular person that has graduated from high school, is living at home with her parents, and her parents are constantly trying to get her to get a job of some sort, which they're unsuccessful with. And her only form of income right now, they mentioned, is the sleep study that she has enlisted in, which once a week she goes to like a university, they pay her $20 and that's it. So basically, That's kind of the gist of the whole thing. Her family wants her to get a job, so mother says, stop playing games, like stop reading your comics, stop writing your fan fiction, go out and find a job for once. Like, please, for the love of God, do something. And so while she's out on the hunt, she's essentially pretending to be job hunting. She walks by a bunch of places and goes, I don't think I'd really be suited as a waitress there. Or, oh, there'd be too many weird people in that location. And then randomly, when she looks at applying at one location, it looks kind of like a mystical thrift shop. I guess is the best way. There's like some like magical like things in the window, and she's like, "Oh, this place looks new. What's this all about?" And when she goes to step in to try and apply, her brother suddenly shows up and goes, "Hey, what are you doing?" And she's all like, "Oh, I'm thinking about applying to this place. It looks really different. It's new. Like, I don't know what it is. I want to see what's going on in there." And he goes, no. You don't want to apply there. That place is owned by a cult owner that was in the news recently. Don't you remember? And she goes, "No, I don't remember that at all, but thanks for helping me dodge that bullet." So after that brief conversation, they go home, they have dinner, sit down to dinner. Dad immediately asks Gwenpool, like, "Hey, what'd you find? Any job leads?" And she's like, "No, I don't have any leads yet." And then she starts blathering on about how she's trying to find the right inspiration for like her next story that she wants to write or her fan fiction or whatever she's doing. And her father pretty much comes out and says, "See, even a hobby that you care about, you can't even finish something yourself. You need to buckle down and get some real discipline." So like this whole big family argument happens. And then she essentially goes, "I know my life is going nowhere. Like, I hate everything where I am right now. I'm sorry I'm not living up to your expectations as a person." And then she storms off saying something about how she's going to her sleep study. And immediately, like after she storms off to go to her sleep study meeting, her mother goes, "That's strange. They don't normally meet at nighttime." And then her brother's like, "Oh no," and immediately runs after her. It jump cuts to her at the university, and she reveals that it's not just a sleep study. But it's really a study on unconventional transference of information and the collective of unconsciousness is exactly what this study is. It's not really a sleep study. That's what it really is.
Okay.
And she has apparently, since they've been working on this transference or unconsciousness thing, she basically says, she walks into the room, and when her brother comes into the room to see what the heck's going on, she's like, "Hey, I turned this thing that the scientists were working on up to 11, and there's this giant transporter terminal thing like what her brother pulled her through into again." And she's like, "I'm going to jump into this, and then I'll be surrounded by like all my superheroes and like everybody that I idolize and everything that I love." And all of a sudden, last minute before she jumps in, something gets like pulled across the room or comes flying out like it's a piece of debris. It almost hits her brother like in the head. And because he's almost injured, she's like, "I probably shouldn't jump into this thing that probably almost just killed my brother." And then literally, she just turns this thing off. And randomly she goes, "You know what? That was crazy. I'm just going to go get a regular job and focus on being a regular person again." And then that's just kind of how it ends.
Okay.
So I think it's very interesting how her brother decides to show up anytime she might encounter something that might stop her from doing anything different. And the only other really weird thing about this entire comic is once she was pulled through and went to regular world, every single dialogue box is pink, like her dialogue boxes are. So
everyone's?
Everyone's.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
You can look through it. Every single dialogue box in this issue is pink. So that makes me think that this could be like something in her mind. I'm not sure what's going on.
Yeah, it might just all be in her head or
really
something.
Interesting. I didn't actually notice that until I got halfway through it, but everybody's box is pink.
Yeah. Mom, dad, brother.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And that's summing up Gwenpool.
Cool. Good deal.
She's pretty believable, but it's a little interesting thing going on now with her.
Yeah.
Alrighty. We'll then let's go ahead and pass the ball to Travis. We'll stay talking about Gwen a little bit, but
Yeah. So
Spider-Gwen.
Spider-Gwen. So last time I talked about Spider-Gwen, she was approached by Matt Murdock, the kingpin of crime, and he said that if she put the venom on Harry Osborn, who is the Croc, the killer. No, not Killer Croc. That's DC. I'm sorry, just the crocodile or the He's the crocodile, right? What's he call himself? The lizard.
The lizard.
The lizard.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
I was almost there.
I would love to be simply known as the lizard.
So he is the lizard. Then it'll cure him of the lizard disease, and then if she takes it away from him and puts it on her, she'll get her spider powers back because she lost her spider powers at some point.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Oh no.
So she finds Harry, and she thinks he's been running from her, but he's actually been running from the man he calls Immortal Mr. Murder Hands.
I see. Immortal Mr. Murder Hands.
His name is Logan.
Oh.
So his name is not Wolverine, however. There is no Wolverine.
It's
Logan, Immortal Mr. Murder Hands. And that he is a bounty hunter who works for S.H.I.E.L.D. to kill bad people that S.H.I.E.L.D. can't do anything with.
Huh.
And so he's been hired to go and kill the lizard. While they're running from the lizard, then another person shows up, and she also has Wolverine claws, but she's phasing through people, and she is introduced as Shadowcat with Wolverine claws.
Interesting.
So I don't get that either, but she is competing with Immortal Mr. Murder Hands for the bounty on the lizard's head.
Oh, I thought she was competing for the shiniest claws.
No. She wants the bounty.
Okay.
So they get distracted and start fighting each other. Then Gwen and Harry run back to his hideaway, where they're approached by the hand ninjas. And he's like, oh, crap, they've come for us. And she's like, no, they're with me. Then Harry flips out on her and says, no, that's not cool. And it's probably a reference, but he gives her a D20 and says, you've got to give me just one more roll. And then at that point, she takes it as okay, I guess I should listen to you and not all these other people. And then the comic ends with the two of them fighting the hand.
Okay.
Who was on her side at one point. But now they're not, because she's siding with the lizard.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Basically,
don't trust Matt Murdock. He's a lying douche monkey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, cool. You want to move on to the next one?
Yeah.
Now,
yeah, sure, I can do that.
Was it? Let's see. Cover wise, was it this one? Was it The Amazing Spider-Man?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
That looks like such a classic comic.
Really?
Like, yeah. It doesn't to you?
I don't know.
It looks very 2000s.
I like it.
What makes it classic?
I don't know.
It looks.
I don't know. Just like I was like, no gadgets, no power. I don't know. It makes me think of Sunday. Sunday.
I kind of see what you're saying with the typography on the cover. They don't really do these call-out boxes anymore. So I've pulled out my my old '90s X-Men book. I don't know if I told this story on the stream, but you're talking about like you've got these call-out boxes like this.
Yeah.
We don't see these on comics very often anymore.
You don't see them very often anymore, no.
Nope. Nope.
So
anyway.
So old comic.
Call-out box. So last time I talked about Amazing Spider-Man, he was in that country whose name I don't know how to pronounce. Syracania or whatever. The fictional country that's right next to Doom's fictional country. You remember?
It's not.
I need to get my fictional country map out.
It's not Sokovia, is it?
I don't remember.
It's not a big deal, but that's the country they keep screwing around with in the movies right now. Do you remember at the end of the Ultron film?
Yeah, yeah.
Where
Oh.
they dropped the big
I could
city
find-
on top of the.
That's all right.
I don't know.
Well, I'm looking for a specific page. I know exactly when they say the name of the country here, right? No, it's when she's winning, not
There's
losing.
some really nice colors in this one. If you like color theory, read this one, you guys.
Nope, she doesn't say it where I thought she said it. It doesn't
Aw.
really matter. I don't remember the name of it. I don't know how to pronounce it. There's lots of K's in it.
It's all good. It's all good.
There's a lot of K's in it.
So, Spider-Man with Parker Industries has gone with Silver Sable and her crew of dudes to basically invade this country, where Norman Osborn has started shacking up with the Queen, who is evil. She's like basically a terrible person. And the last comic ended with Norman Osborn had launched a missile that was going to turn the entire country into goblins.
Yeah.
His slaves. So this comic starts with the missile coming up over the horizon. So they split up into 3 groups. One of the groups goes to try and save the civilians. One of the groups goes to try and stop the missile. And then Spider-Man and Silver Sable go to the castle to fight the supervillains. So Silver Sable gets in a sword fight over who is the true ruler of the country with the Queen, whose name is Kharkov or something like that.
More K's.
Yeah, more K's. And Peter goes after Norman.
Okay.
Well, Norman starts throwing lots of gas at him, and he starts losing his powers one by one. No gadgets, no powers, no holds barred.
Okay.
And Peter starts to think to himself, he's like, what the heck's going on? This is weird. The Goblin doesn't reuse things. And then he realizes, oh, wait, this isn't the Goblin anymore. This is Norman Osborn. He's going to do everything he can to get every advantage over me. He's not like the Goblin who wouldn't reuse tricks because he'd think that it's boring. So it literally comes down to a fist fight between the 2 of them.
Okay.
And
Is it a good fist fight?
it's a fist fight. One punches the other one, the other punches.
Okay.
Punching.
All right.
Is
Side by
any
side.
fist fight ever a good fist fight?
I don't know. I'm looking forward to Ragnarok, where we'll see a pretty cool fist fight between Thor and Hulk.
Ooh, that would be cool.
Presumably, I mean, it looks like that's what we're going to
That'd be
see
really cool
in the trailer, but it could be a hoax.
Oh, I hope not.
Anyway, so fist fights, and then Norman starts to laugh at him. He says, haha, this was my plan all along, because now you're outside, you're going to get hit by the gas. And then Peter's like, psh, I have amazing friends, bro. And then it cuts to the people who have stopped the missile. Then S.H.I.E.L.D. shows up, and Norman says, oh, no, and runs away because he's a coward. S.H.I.E.L.D. Publicly denounces Parker Industries because Parker Industries invaded a country.
Fair game.
Granted, they invaded a country who was in the middle of a hostile takeover by a foreign power.
Also fair.
So, but that's one point of view versus the other. So they publicly denounce Parker Industries. We're not buying from you anymore. See you later, bro.
Wow.
And then the comic closes with Norman realizing he needs to be the Goblin again if he wants to ever truly challenge Spider-Man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have a
And that-
fly in my face.
He's catching flies out of the sky.
Yeah, with chopsticks. Beginner's luck. So yeah, that was pretty much that one. It does say at the end of it, what did it say? It didn't say the end. It said
To be continued.
it said the end ... question mark. And I think the reason they did that is because this is the end of like an arc. So and opening up to the end and looking at it right before Norman does the whole I need to be the Goblin thing, it shows Spider-Man interacting with Harry Osborn, because it seems that Aunt May knows that he is Spider-Man, but Harry does not. But Harry is now cool with the Spider-Man. He understands that his dad is a crazy maniac, and Spider-Man didn't kill him, I guess. Then again, if he killed him, why is he back? I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I'm mad at you, Spider-Man, because you killed my dad. It got better, but still, you killed him.
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, there's that, and they talk, and
All right.
and that's when, yeah, whatever. It's all good.
No, yeah.
Yeah, Spider-Man, Deadpool.
Were you done with Spider-Man?
Well, I was going to talk more about Harry because it was kind of interesting the way they ended the little conversation.
Mm.
Because with Harry and Norman, it's always been, it's all about the family. And that's why Harry wants to kill Peter, or Spider-Man, and Harry becomes the Goblin eventually, and then now he's better. They end the conversation with Harry because Spider-Man is telling Harry, no, you don't need to stay here and help. My Aunt May and the Uncle Ben Foundation, they've got this. They're going to take care of these country's people. And he's like, yeah, but I want to be here because my dad did all this crap. And he's like, look, man, it's cool. You have kids now. Go be with your family. And then Harry says, yeah, it really has always been about family. And I thought that was really kind of cool. That little duality there.
Oh,
That's nice.
Yeah.
Right.
Basically, Spider-Man was like, don't become what your dad was to you, to your kids.
Yeah.
Be there for them.
Okay.
So yeah, that's that.
Good deal.
My last one
Deadpool.
is, what was it? Spider-Man, Deadpool?
Spider-Man.
Deadpool, Spider-Man.
I want to read these too. This is another one I need to read.
So this is the conclusion issue of Spider-Man, Deadpool. I warned you last time, but it's over.
Womp womp.
Too bad, so sad. So last time we talked about this one, Spider-Man had decided it's time to kill this itsy bitsy lady. She's crazy. No matter what we do with her, she's just gonna come back, or
Wait,
whatever.
is her name
so I'm gonna kill her.
Bitsy?
Yes, her super villain name is Itsy Bitsy.
I love her.
She is half Spider-Man, half Deadpool, and she has 8 big spider arms. Well, no, she has 6 big spider arms coming out of her back, and then 2 human arms.
Let me see. I need to see her.
And he had thrown her into some sort of like containment field, like I had said. Well, she breaks out of the containment field because she's a supervillain and she's evil, and that's what she does. All the while, when she comes out, she's using Deadpool's regeneration powers to heal herself because the contamination, the containment field, like fried her some. But Deadpool and Spidey are still fighting because Deadpool has become not a killer, and he's like, no, we need to not kill her. We need to throw her in jail because that's what she deserves. And then Spidey's like, no, I'm done with this crap. I'm going to kill her. So they've sort of kind of flipped positions, the two of them.
Yeah.
So they're fighting over this, and then Spider-Man goes to kill her, and then Deadpool comes back and punches him in the face, and they start to fight again, and she's laughing. And then Spider-Man goes to kill her again, and then Deadpool, just upset with the way things are turning out, kills her before Spider-Man can.
Okay.
Because Deadpool says, like, no, you're the good guy. Like, stop it. Like, I'm the bad guy. You saving me ruined you. And he says, so I guess this is what I need to do now. This is me. And then they have a real heart-to-heart about, like, you didn't have to do that, man. Like, he's like, no, I did it for you because, like, you're better than me. Like, you need to be that way. This is you. Don't let them ruin you. Okay. And apparently there was like some demon. I think it was like all a bet between him and some. It looks like an accountant. Like he's got a business shirt.
No, I'm not joking. He does. He just looks like some guy in a white button-up.
Yeah, and then the demon. So the demon lost the bet because he couldn't make Spider-Man kill someone. Is the deal? And then the accountant's like, so can I go now? And then they make another bet, and then like I guess that's supposed to be them leading up to the possible future reoccurrence of this. Except now they're betting on Deadpool, not Spider-Man.
Okay.
And then it wraps up back with Deadpool and Spider-Man, and Spider-Man is eating lots of ice cream, and they start to go back to talking about what they were talking about previously was, I have this big hole in myself, and I'm trying to fill it by murdering this woman because, she's caused the hole. And so Deadpool makes a lot of jokes about filling the hole with ice cream, and then eventually they hug at the end because they're connecting, and then Deadpool says something about, well, just if you ever feel like you need holes filled, the guy to come to, and then Spidey says, and it's over. And the very last panel, there are two maintenance guys going down a tunnel and talking about food, and he's like, how can you talk about food in this sewage environment, blah blah blah. And then suddenly a spider comes crawling down on his shoulder and sings the itsy bitsy spider song.
The itsy bitsy spider went up the spout again.
Yeah, she's singing the spider song because it's her coming up the spout. She's coming back.
Yeah, that's cool.
And that's how it ends. So it's over, but I guess it's not because she's not actually dead, which I guess is a good thing for Deadpool because that means he didn't actually kill her. So, oh yeah, that's right. The other thing, it's hilarious. I love because you know how Deadpool comes up with some funny stuff. I want to get exactly what he said because it's just I can't word things like he can. Where is he? He talks about being an Avenger. Darn, I'll never find it, will I?
Not now, no. Not when you're under the pressure too.
Yeah, right. So he talks about, here we are. So he says, I'm an Avenger. I avenged a bunch of dead people. Or maybe I'm not. I don't even know where we are in the continuity right now. Rassum frassum creative teams missing deadlines.
Yeah.
So
that explains a lot of the continuity problems with everything going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
That's not fair.
Gotcha.
Ha! That's not fair.
So
even my cat is
it's documented.
So I remember reading a couple years ago a book that it was 3 separate X-Men stories going on at the same time, and all 3 of them released 1 week after 1 week after 1 week, so 3 weeks in a row, and they all told the exact same event from 3 different perspectives. And I was like, cool. Wow, that's really cool that they were able to line that up. And then they tried to do it again like 20 issues down the road, and it was like 1 week and then a month and then 2 months, and it was like, wait a minute. So I get that continuity problems. I don't know.
That's tough.
Well, cool. We made it through all of our comic books for today.
We did the thing.
Devin was not able to show up. I see right now Guardians is on the thing and Secret Empire. Those are ones he was reading for us. But Devin will probably be back. He might do those for us. We might just skip ahead and cover them later or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, cool. So the question I always ask is, let's go Travis first. Travis, if you had to pick up and read a book that somebody else talked about this week, which book would you read?
Probably one of yours, because I didn't get to hear about them.
Oh. We'll go back and watch the video when it posts.
Because I don't know. Let me think. Doctor Strange is interesting. Probably Deadpool versus the Punisher, just because I like how just hey, look at that! Like right after I mention it, it shows up on the screen.
It's like I'm a wizard.
No. I don't know. I like the idea of this weird like dream state thing they're going through.
Yeah,
one of them wins a fight, and then poof, they wake up, and it's the next issue.
Right.
And they're both. I think Deadpool is starting to realize that's what's going on, and that's why he just straight up shot the dude. I'm also really interested in who these thugs are with the dollar signs on their faces, because I feel like I should know who that is.
I don't know if I actually mentioned that, but that is definitely Mr. Banks, the hired guns that he has. They're all wearing helmets that, I'm not even joking, they look like Daft Punk helmets.
Yes.
But on the front, there's a dollar sign.
Yep.
So I have no idea who, and they just allude to, well, you know who trained us, right? And I'm like, I don't know.
I'm like, I feel like we're supposed to know who trained them.
But we can't, because this is the beginning. Like, we didn't pick up in the middle, so.
I also, I also Googled it incessantly and couldn't figure out who the heck they are.
Oh yeah, he was
So-
on Google like $ helmet Marvel. Like he was trying so hard.
Couldn't find a thing.
Maybe it's something entirely new and they're trying to trick you.
It could be. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll go into it more.
We'll find out in, I think, 2 weeks when the next one comes out.
Yeah.
And then
how about you, Kelly? What would you read if you had to read somebody else's?
I'm gonna choose 2. The first one that I'm gonna choose, even though like it just finished and this is the last one, I loved like Spider-Man Deadpool. That's one that I would love to like read a little bit more of. I think that would be cool.
Okay.
And there's like only 18 issues, so it's a nice short read. It's not like something you have to commit to, right? Or am I wrong?
No, yes, it is. I forgot to talk about something that I meant to talk about in Spider-Man versus Spider-Man Deadpool.
What was that?
It was an important thing.
Yeah.
I just forgot it.
What?
So while Spider-Man was fighting Itsy Bitsy trying to kill her, and back and forth between her and Deadpool, Deadpool was making a lot of observations because very unlike Spider-Man, he wasn't talking like the whole time. And that's what Deadpool was observing is like he really is. He's done. Like he's just so done. He stopped making jokes. He's not being snarky. He's not being funny.
I feel like you said that last time.
Yeah. And I think at one point he said, I don't need to see through his mask to see those eyes because I see those eyes in the mirror every morning.
Yeah.
Because basically he was alluding to the fact that like he had the murderous intent. So.
Okay. Yeah. That's really cool dynamic though. I like that. See, I like that stuff, and that's why I like comics.
Mm-hmm.
It's always something nifty.
What was your other one?
So between Spider-Man, Deadpool, and then which, because Matt, you're reading all of them.
No, yeah. What's that?
Iceman sounded interesting. I'm gonna hold off though until we get a little more issues in. But the other one that has like Nature Girl in it, and we're in Central Park.
Generation X.
That one. I think I might want to try a couple of issues of that one too. That one seems pretty nifty as well.
It's definitely one of my favorites just because it's this hodgepodge group of people that like I don't know, they're all screw ups. But they don't outright say it, but they're all screw ups.
And I know one. I think it had to have been last Wednesday. Not this one, but the one from the previous week when I actually went to the comic book shop with you.
Mm-hmm.
When that issue was up on the wall, I immediately gravitated towards it, and I was like, ooh. And then he went, no, Matt's reading that one, and I was like, oh.
Well, that doesn't mean you can't read it. We have,
I know, yeah, exactly.
We have the ability to share them.
We're trying to limit the books that we purchase to the ones that we're reading and talking about.
No,
That's
is that the one you were saying?
Yep, I think so.
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah.
All right.
Show up here and he's
watch
it.
Good deal. I think if I had to pick one, I'd probably pick Spider-Gwen. Just because, like the whole Kitty Pryde thing kind of had me going. The Shadowcat thing.
Yeah.
Shadowcat was one of Kitty Pryde's code names.
Yes.
But she's never had Wolverine claws. She's always kind of been one of Wolverine's sidekicky kind of girl people things. I don't know. But yeah. All the Deadpool ones sound interesting, but I'm not sure. If not Spider-Gwen, then Deadpool, the one that had Coulson in it.
That makes sense. I was very interested in that one too, just because like I like Coulson.
Yeah,
he's cool.
Straight up regular Deadpool, like no crossovers. Like don't need any of that. Just give me the Deadpool.
I'm starting to be.
That was really cool.
I'm starting to be super indecisive because I liked the sound of the Doctor Strange one too. I don't know. That was like one of the first times I've heard you talk about Doctor Strange, and I've never read a Doctor Strange comic. So
I think that was the first time she has actually talked about it.
Yeah, I think that was the first time.
Because she was supposed to talk about it at one point, but she was really behind because she was. Yeah.
So right now my answer is Spider-Gwen would probably be the one I would read if I had to read one more, because that was interesting and stuff. Deadpool would be interesting to read for the sake of learning more about Secret Empire, and I want to know more about.
Yeah.
I want to know more about Doctor Strange. So keep reading it and keep telling me things about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's easy to do.
Well.
Yep, he's got 2 books running right now, so.
Good deal. Mission accomplished, guys.
Yay!
Once again, thanks everybody for watching. This has been fun, like it always is. Because the rules of YouTube say that I have to tell you, you should like our video, you should subscribe, and you should leave comments. If you feel so inclined, your comments should tell us which of our books that we talked about would you read. Or
you can comment about something else.
Or if you didn't like any of our books, which book did you read this week that we should read?
Oh, that's a good one too.
I like that one. Do that.
Yeah, we should do like a shout out section.
Yeah,
like whoever
if
something is mentioned a lot, or if something.
If you mention things, if you do comments, I could always like read your comments on the next episode. I do watch the comment stream. I'm the only person that commented during the live chat thing.
Yes.
But
I don't even know how to do that.
But I do watch it. So if y'all feel like commenting,
over here.
Yeah, well, you got to do it on your phone if you want to do it while we're in the show. Because now you're off shot.
How to make it work. Oh, I have to sign in. It says I have to sign in to do it. And I'm apparently not signed into YouTube. Thought I was, but whatever. Oh, it's because I'm changing. I'm in the middle of changing browsers. Yeah, I'm getting away from Firefox because they took away my plugins and things.
Yeah.
So.
Alrighty. Well, thank you for watching. And I think we'll see you next time.
Thanks for getting us together.
Yeah. All right. Bye.